aggression, backed up, armed, supported by the United States. In addition to this, the Americans have said nothing since then about the siege of Gaza. They have gotten the Egyptian government to build a steel barrier, an 18-foot underground steel barrier to block off the smuggling tunnels between the Rafah, Gaza, and Rafah, Egypt borders, so that the goods needed for people in Gaza to survive are being choked off even more. Why is Egypt doing this? Because Egypt is beholden to its patron, the United States, and its partner in pressure, the Israeli government. But I don't want to let Egypt off the hook. It is one of the most repressive governments in the Middle East, and it is one yet that we continue to refer to as a moderate Arab state. Why? Because it's on our side. It's one of our guys. Finally, when the Obama administration condemned the Goldstone report in Congress, it lost an opportunity to stress the rule of law and the ending of illegal warfare, not only by countries like Israel, but also by the primary offender around the world itself. The last thing I wanted to say about Israel-Palestine is simply to remind you that Barack Obama made a big deal about stopping the settlements. He wanted the illegal settlements in the occupied West Bank to be frozen. That is a pathetic demand. Nothing is going to change if the settlements are frozen. The settlements have to be dismantled and gotten rid of, or they have to be incorporated into a single state where Palestinians and Israelis can live together in peace. But this is not on the agenda of the Barack Obama administration, and it has not been on the agenda of any U.S. president since at least 1967. This was a deep disappointment in the Arab world, which had had great hopes for Obama, but again, a lot of times the wishes, the rhetoric, the words of hope are clouded over by corporate interests, by lobby groups, by all kinds of I would say, nefarious organizations that basically control our country like a mafia. And what the boss man says is what we do. And if we want to risk our lives and challenge the boss, that's our choice. But those who do so very often pay a heavy price. Not long after the Cairo speech, which in itself was ironic, Cairo being the seat of one of the most oppressive governments in the Arab world, as I already mentioned, Barack Obama announced an escalation of the war in Afghanistan, a vast escalation of the war in Afghanistan. And at almost the same time, he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. Now, I don't know what was going on in his mind when he got the Peace Prize and had just recently increased the number of troops in Afghanistan, among other things. But when he delivered his acceptance speech in Oslo, the way he got around it was describing the war in Afghanistan as a just war. Now, there isn't really a theory of just war that Barack Obama applied when he discussed this just war that he was conducting, that his administration was conducting in Afghanistan. He basically started off his statement with, "I believe that the war in Afghanistan is a just war," just the same way the Israelis believe they have right on their side, and so on down the line. So, as we watch the events unfolding today in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, which are getting progressively worse, as we watch the events unfolding around Afghanistan, I'm sorry to have to add that in today's Tom Dispatch, a website on the internet, there was an article in which, after a year-long study of the Afghan war, revealed a horror story, and I'm quoting, of the widespread and feared night raids in Afghanistan and the network of secret prisons on U.S. military bases where detainees from the raids are held and in many cases abused, disappeared, or worse. This is the dark side of the American war and in Afghanistan, as if there is a bright side. Obama's secret prisons and part of his secret counterterrorism war, especially in the South, where the Taliban is strongest and gaining in strength because they want the United States out. In the counterterrorism war, Obama is being completely consistent with the policies of the Bush administration. In fact, he is taking them one step further, because just as he promised to have Guantanamo Bay shut within a year, as we now know today, it is still open and operating. And when the Military Commissions Act allowed the military courts of this nation to deny all of the prisoners taken the right of habeas corpus, the Supreme Court during the Bush administration overturned this ruling and said that no, prisoners in Guantanamo Bay and at the Bagram Air Base in Afghanistan, which is probably 100 times worse, these prisoners do have